Don't bring her up. She only understands numbers. That sentence wasn't meant for my ears, but it ended my marriage in one breath. I'm Lauren Hayes. On our 10th anniversary, I stood outside the back door of our old campus pub, gift in hand, listening to my husband, Ethan Carter, promise a younger woman a pure love and a new life. A life I'd been funding. My stomach didn't drop. It went hollow. Ever realize you've been the safety net, not the wife? I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just thought, am I in the wrong for finally choosing myself? If you were me, hearing your life being traded away, what would you do? Comment below and subscribe if you want the rest. I picked the dress like armor. Deep plum, silk, the kind of fabric that reminds you you're still a person, not a function. 10 years of marriage can bleach you out if you let it. And that morning, I stared at myself in the mirror, trying to remember who I was before I became everyone's emergency contact. I had a plan. Not a fancy restaurant, not a show. I was taking Ethan back to the little campus pub near Hyde Park, the place we held our reception when we were broke and stupid happy and convinced love was enough. I even bought him a watch because weeks earlier he'd joked, "My old one makes me look cheap." When I pulled up, I saw his black Mercedes parked behind the building. My heart softened. I thought, maybe he remembered. The back kitchen door was cracked open. Warm light spilled onto the alley. And then I heard his voice, the one I'd defended in 1,000 rooms. She's pure, Lauren. She doesn't care about money. She understands me. We can make new memories. Let the old ones fade. Pure. That word hit like ice water. I stood there holding a gift like an idiot, my fingers going numb around the bag handle. You know that moment when your brain tries to reject reality like it's a bad sentence you can edit? Yeah, no edits. I didn't storm in. I listened. Because in business, you learn fast. Patterns don't lie and evidence matters. His new, pure inspiration, Sophie Reed, had that careful voice of someone trying to sound grateful. She talked about tuition deadlines, a sick mom back home, not knowing if she'd finish the semester. And Ethan sounded like the man I married. Calm, certain, heroic. Don't worry, he told her. I'll take care of it. You just focus on studying. You're too gifted to be distracted by money. She hesitated. But where would the money come from? Your wife runs everything. Does she know you help me? And right there, the warmth in his voice died. Don't bring her up, he snapped. She only understands numbers. All she talks about is work and money. Being with her is like living in a closed room. With you, I can breathe. Closed room. Funny how the people living off your numbers call you suffocating when you finally ask what they're spending. Here's what makes it worse. I'd signed Sophie's scholarship approval myself months earlier. She'd looked me in the eyes and called me her inspiration. I believed her because I believed people when they cried. I met Ethan at a university lecture. Brilliant, charming, broke. My parents warned me not because he was poor, but because his family leaned on him in a way that left no room for a partner. I married him anyway, thinking love could share weight. Then life happened. His mother's health, his sister's emergencies, grants drying up. Every temporary problem became permanent, and I stepped in without being asked. I paid bills from hospital waiting rooms. I covered tuition extensions after running payroll. When his research stalled, my company funded it. When his mother needed better care, I arranged it. When his sister wanted a fresh start, I financed it. At first, he called me amazing. Then he stopped noticing. Infrastructure is invisible until it collapses. Standing outside that kitchen door, I realized I wasn't a wife. I was a system. And systems aren't loved, they're used. So I took one breath, straightened my dress, and decided I wasn't going to beg to be valued ever again. I pushed the kitchen door open, and the room went silent. Sophie slid off Ethan's lap. Ethan stood up too fast, chair scraping, eyes wide, like his lie had suddenly turned into a spotlight. I didn't yell. I didn't throw the gift. I pulled out a chair and sat down like I was about to review numbers. Don't stop, I said. You were explaining how pure she is. Ethan's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Sophie stared at the floor, hands folded like prayer could erase a scene. I looked at Ethan. You said I only understand money. Great. Let's talk money. I counted it off. The house you live in, mine. The car, mine. Your research funding, mine. Your mother's care, arranged and paid by me. Your sister's rent, me. And that scholarship? I nodded at Sophie. Signed by me. Ethan tried to find anger because guilt makes cowards loud. You had no right to listen. This is my private life. You control everything. Living with you is a cage. There it was. The script. When people benefit from structure, they call it support. When they want out of accountability, they call it control. I said it calmly. Tomorrow I file for divorce. His head snapped up. You can't. Tonight, I cut in. You're going to experience life without my structure. No money, no safety net, no silence. Sophie whispered, but we love each other. I raised a hand. Love doesn't start on someone else's payroll. Then the door opened again, and in walked Diane Carter and Brooke Carter. His mother and sister, like they were arriving to manage the mess. Brooke looked at me like I'd inconvenienced her. So this is the anniversary? You really chose a dump for drama. Diane sighed. Lauren, don't do this in public. A man has needs. If he strays, it's because his home is cold. Brooke added, Ethan has a reputation. Handle it privately. Privately, I repeated. Like the way you've all been handling this privately without me? Diane's smile tightened. Sophie is young. Men get inspired. You got obsessed with work. You stopped being a wife. They'd rehearsed it. I could hear the rehearsal in the confidence. So I asked one question. Do any of you know what Ethan actually earns as a professor each month? Silence. About 4,000, I said. Before taxes. That doesn't cover Diane's medications, Brooke's lifestyle, or the house you all enjoy. Brooke scoffed. He has grants. Funded by my company, and I said, everyone. Diane waved a hand. Money again. Because money is the truth you keep trying to dodge, I answered. I stood, grabbed my bag, and looked at all four of them, the husband who betrayed me, the mother who excused it, the sister who protected convenience, and the girl who confused rescue with romance. You're right, I said softly. I don't need him. Then I walked out. In my car, I didn't cry. I made 3 calls. First, my assistant Maya. Freeze every secondary card tied to my accounts. Ethan's, Diane's, Brooke's. Not revenge, separation. Second, property management. Pause non-essential services at the Lincoln Park house. Procedure, not drama. Third, my company's finance team. Pull corporate funding from Ethan's research project. Ethics violation clause. Notify the university in the morning. I didn't cancel healthcare. I removed myself as guarantor and transferred billing because boundaries aren't cruelty. Boundaries are clarity. Then my phone started buzzing. Decline charges, missed calls, panic. I flipped it face down, and for the first time in a decade, I let their problems stay with them. I slept finally, deeply. The next morning, I picked up my kids early. Ben was 10. Emma was 8. They ran to me like nothing had changed. And that trust nearly broke me because I knew their world was about to split. By the lake, Ben asked, Mom, are you and Dad fighting again? I swallowed. Sometimes grown-ups realize they can't fix something together anymore. That doesn't change how much we love you. Emma's lip trembled. Grandma says families have to stay together. Ben didn't cry. He stared at the water and said, Dad has someone else. I saw messages. He saved her as Sophie, student. He smiles when he texts her. He doesn't smile like that at home. Then Emma whispered, Grandma says you're useless. Aunt Brooke yells. She takes my things. That hit harder than the cheating, because I'd protected them financially, but I hadn't protected them emotionally. I'd been so busy holding up everyone else that I missed what was happening inside my own home. I knelt in front of them. From now on, there will be no yelling, no fear, and no pretending we're okay. That afternoon, my security lead, Jared, handled the practicals. Locks changed, access codes reset, only mine and the kids. Their things were packed neatly and labeled. Order matters when emotions don't. By nightfall, Ethan's calls started. Diane's calls. Brooks. I let them ring. When they showed up at the gate, Ethan hit the intercom like volume could rewrite reality. I answered, calm. This isn't your home anymore. Please leave. You can't do this, he said, voice cracking. We need to talk. We will, I said. Tomorrow, through attorneys. Diane called my name like memory could restore privilege. Brooke shouted like entitlement was a legal argument. Sophie cried beside Ethan. I turned off the feed. When you stop rescuing people, they call it cruelty. I call it closure. I didn't go to the divorce meeting. Emotion walks into a room and reason usually leaves, so I sent my attorney, Ms. Parker. They met at a quiet coffee shop near campus. Ethan tried. You can't take everything. I worked for this family, too. Ms. Parker opened a folder. 10 years of income, 10 years of expenses. Here's your salary. Here's what left Lauren's accounts. He muttered about reputation. She slid over the pages with hotel charges and work trips that overlapped with dates. If this goes to court, she said, these records become public. The university will be notified. Pride fought reality. Reality won. He signed. Full custody for me, no alimony, no debt collection, just a clean end. 6 months later, life didn't collapse. It clarified. Without my funding, Ethan's project died in daylight. Diane's health became his problem. Brooke learned luxury doesn't teach survival. Sophie left when rescue turned into responsibility. That kind of love doesn't survive a billing statement. Meanwhile, my life got quieter in ways I forgot were possible. Therapy helped me untangle guilt from loyalty. Mornings with my kids got slower. Work felt like choice, not obligation. That first week, the silence felt wrong, like I should be solving something. I kept reaching for my phone to fix a crisis that wasn't mine. Then Ben laughed in the kitchen. Emma danced, and I realized peace isn't empty. It's safe. So let me ask you, if someone calls you cold the moment you stop paying their costs, are you really cold, or are you finally free? If you've ever been the fixer, hit like, share this, and tell me in the comments. What boundary do you wish you'd set sooner? I used to think love meant endurance. Pay the bill, swallow the insult, smooth the moment, keep the family together. But here's what I learned. When you're the one carrying everything, people stop seeing you as a person and start seeing you as a service. Walking away didn't destroy my family. It stopped funding a lie. Ethan still tells people I changed. Diane calls me cold. Brooke says I ruined his future. And maybe that's the easiest story for them to live with. Because the real story is they built their comfort on my silence. Now my kids sleep without tension in the air. I sleep without dread in my chest. And I'm finally building a life where my kindness has limits. So I'm asking you, honestly, am I in the wrong? If you found out your partner was using your money, your effort, and your empathy to bankroll a double life, would you stay quiet to keep appearances? Or would you choose yourself, even if people call you selfish? You don't owe anyone access just because you helped them. If this hit a nerve, tap like, subscribe for more real talk stories, and drop a comment. What's one boundary you're setting this week?